open up GA and you'd have 60% desktop, 40% mobile traffic. And then over the course
Yeah.
of, like 6, 12, 18 months, like that not just flipped, but then started going into that, the other direction. So now you're looking down the barrel at, obviously depends on sort of what sites you're looking at, a 70-30 split of mobile to desktop. And that happened so quickly.
Yeah, absolutely it did. And that for me is always comes down to when clients ask me about SEO, I don't tell them what I've realized, maybe because I'm neuro, I try to connect dots in my
Yep.
brain, right? So, like I know I don't want to lose them. So I try to break it down for them in analogies.
Yep.
So I'm like, whatever we do for SEO, and this has been my sort of mantra since I started my business in 2012,
Hmm.
whatever we do, if it's good for your business, it will be good for SEO.
Yeah, correct.
And
Yep.
what you do in the offline world, your connections, your relationships, what does that look like? Well, that will translate into links. How to
Yep.
become authority, being an educator. Are you somebody that people looks up to? Well, that will also transform or translate
Yep.
into links. The technical side is we're laying the foundation, we're improving the site saturation visibility.
Yep.
That's temporary. We can only go so far.
Yep.
But once we start working on the content and making, what do we want links? We want links because we want your business to be an authority
Yeah.
and a
Just on
resource.
the linking front though, and I think you raised a really good point here. And I've got some massive thoughts on this. What does backlinking look like today for you in that sense? Because I've spent a bit of time with agencies as I've done the toing and froing sort of in-house, out-of-house, and it I was a little bit shocked, to be honest with you, to see what massive agencies are doing, and I think clients would be shocked to see where their money is going as well. A lot of these so-called Australian-based, all onshore agencies, seeing so much money not just go overseas, but how their brands are actually being replicated on some of these junk blogs, even though they might have high, authority. I mean, what's your take on that? Because I think links is probably like the most contentious topic in SEO for mine.
Oh, mate, you've raised the hair on my arms, and there's a lot of hair on my arms to raise. So, look, it's very contentious. I think look, it's business. I think that's at the heart of the decision making, right? So you've got these larger SEO agencies with bigger margins, more difficult margins to make money, and they've got massive overheads. So when you give them $3,000 or $4,000 a month, and you want them to build content, well, now let's say what it really is, about $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month, right?
Yep.
That's just some of the more average budgets now, which is just ludicrous to me, right? But for 2 to 3,000, and you're expecting them to build content, to build links, to do the technical, to do the analytics. Like, I mean, first of all, we need to define what the role of the SEO even is now,
Yep.
because that's a whole topic. Maybe there's a whole discussion in of itself, right? Who's actually? But for me, yes, it's agencies doing a lot of bad work. I think partly because clients are also trying to be cost effective, if one way of putting it nicely, and not really. The SEOs aren't educated, not telling them what they need to. What you brilliantly said, I'm exactly the same. As soon as someone asks me for a proposal, I say, you don't want to see my proposal. If I'm going up against another agency with a proposal, forget about it, because my proposal sucks. The proposal is, you're talking to me right now. Yep. That is the proposal. You're dealing with someone with 20 years experience almost. This is what you're going to get, right? Mm-hmm. Ask me anything you like. Right, that's the proposal.
Not these proposals that have 20 pages talking about their team and their wonderful office. We just get straight into it.
My proposal doesn't look like it certainly doesn't look like a Christmas tree with the bells, right? So it looks like a dog's breakfast. My proposals, but I'm hoping that the information's different. So to answer your question, I think I wanted to start an SEO commission with 4 of my SEO buddies in the industry. Mm-hmm. Right, that I trust, that I've known for a hell of a long time. Everyone, they didn't want to do it for various reasons, right? Mm-hmm. The point is there has to be an authority of some sort. I don't want the government to be the authority because they don't know nothing about SEO, right? So I don't want them to be the authority. Crikey, that's worse. That will lead us down a worse path than we're already on. But there needs to be a authority. There needs to be like a set of rules. But also, like, when I speak to the average client, like you said, they don't know really what a quality link is. I always tell, like, this at the same time, Rye, it's not 2013 anymore. There is an abundance of information out there on what quality SEO looks like. There's a lot of good talkers and speakers and people on YouTube that I kind of don't want to push a lot of SEO content on there because I'm thinking there's already a hell of a lot of good stuff out there. Yeah. I might throw my perspective on things every now and then, but even with 20 years experience, I'm thinking, look, there's no excuse anymore. Like, they need to know what this stuff is because it is a matter of the life or death of their business and their livelihood, right? So in the agency's defense of building bad links is they've got a lot of staff. Do I think it's wrong and unethical? 100%. And what do these links look? I'm still seeing the private blog networks. I'm still seeing the Web 2.0 spam. Some of the link buildings I've just seen, I mean, I do a lot with jewelers. Some of these SEO agencies that are building links for jewelers, I'm like, I try to tell these clients, where do you actually think this link building is going to go, guys? Like, I want to ask the agencies the same question. What's the end game here for you guys?
I think you've raised, for me anyway, you've raised two really good points in terms of the bit of an SEO authority. We'd love to, let's unpack that. But then also in terms of the backlinking, this stuff unfortunately works, right? I think we're in this sort of era where Google says one thing, but then we test and we learn and we go, well, hang on, this actually works. We're not getting penalized. This works. And hang on. And from an agency perspective, they can charge for it because they can show results. So I feel like it's this weird kind of balance between, you know what, it looks crap, it smells crap, but guess what? If we do it, it works. And that seems to be the most, I guess, effective way of, getting a site ranking is some of those PBNs or, some of those links. And it's that balance between, hang on, is it ethical? Is it the right thing to do? The client's chomping at the bit. There's just such a gray area.
That for me, the client chomping, so I'm not trying to dig out the bad agency for doing bad work. They need to be held accountable. Yeah. And I think there was a few stories out there where you thought on the news media that it could have been heading that way for certain people, right? But the clients are chomping at the bit to get results. So you've got the pressure from the client, you've got low budgets, you've got staff, and you've got overheads. Yeah. And while I do think there's a lot of donkey SEOs out there, I also do think there is legitimate SEOs out there that want to get results that are forced into this corner to do the bad work because they're generally under pressure and they feel like they're at the mercy of their boss and at the clients. And so I
think there's a distinction with bad work though too in terms of like in backlinking. I mean, let's be honest. If I get backlink and that improves client site, that's okay, no problems. But like we were saying before, I think people would be shocked to learn where these websites are, who's being paid for these, and what the margin is on some of these backlinks too. So it's an idea that I've had for a long time, and hear me out here, so we're going to sort of theorize on air, is at last check, other than, money.9now or 9honey or whatnot on their subdomains, doesn't really seem to be a PBN in Australia. It's all overseas. And I think that's the other thing too, is I don't think I've seen anything to date that really, outside of the major publishers, is a sort of a network of blog sites really that you can kind of get listed on, unless I've been hiding under a rock and I'm not on an email list somewhere. But they all seem to be, .coms or .bizes or .cos, all hosted overseas. So it's that's what I think I would like to see. I mean, hell, if PBNs are the way to go, if that's how we have to do it, Google, it'd be great to have it locally. Have a local Australian gardening blog for your garden client to actually have some legitimate content on there. Awesome, rather than this stuff looking like spam and looking like crap, because it's that. Again, does it work? Will it work? It's bit of a test and learn, but
I think SEO is also, I mean, you would be careful with the PBNs it all because I don't feel like anyone would really do them well.
No.
And if Google, I mean, it's one of those things where, hey, look, if I get 4 or 5 links from legitimate sites, is that going to help? I mean, whether you call that a PBN, if these sites are building legitimate content and they're generating legitimate links and they're not a link farm, right, and they're only linking out a few times,
Yep.
and they're generally only linking to higher authority sites, not just seem to be just linking out to car sites and their guard. You know what I mean? So, I mean, you could call something like a PBN like that, and it would get results. Well, of course it would, because what are they doing differently if they're generating high quality links themselves? They're producing high quality content. They're user centric first, and they just got this advertising part of their business to help them generate income. Well, how does Google know what a sponsored link looks like if it's not even written as sponsored?
Bingo. Yep. Correct. Yep.
So how
yeah.
will they know? As long, but when you got to be careful, because when you say PBN in Australia, people are going to start looking at like what a PBN is.
I think my definition of PBN is group of sites where you could grab some nice links from. And I just don't think it's done really well in Australia. You remember how there used to be magazine groups? So, you know, again, the death of the magazine. But 15 years ago, you'd have APC, who would actually own, you know, they'd have a PC magazine.